Welcome back, CA. This is episode 5 of the CA Lit Kit, Dialogue, Text, and Multiple Choice. In this reading selection, we're going to be reading a dialogue, and a dialogue is a conversation between two or more people. So that's an important thing that we need to keep in mind when we're going through and reading. As we see, each of the sentences is numbered. That means that we're going to go through and decide who is speaking at each point. And we're going to highlight along to see what important details we can pick out from the text. So let's begin. There's no title right away. There is a picture, and it's called Hair Shop on Wheels. So this probably is indicating what we're going to be reading about. The first part starts with, "Thanks for agreeing to talk with me about your successful business," said Nat, shaking hands with Alex. Right away, I know that this is Nat speaking, so I'm going to go ahead and write an N just beside number 1 so I know who it is. And I know that because they tell us who's speaking. The next person is called Alex. And let's see who's talking in the next line. Alex smiled. "I'm happy to help students with career exploration." So right away we know that that is Alex speaking. We're going to highlight here help students. So if we notice, help students, that tells us that Nat is a student. So that's an important thing that we learned just from this first part of the dialogue. Let's continue on. Next sentence says, "I have 3 main questions. How did you get started? What do you like best about being your own boss? And what advice do you have for young entrepreneurs?" Well, the word entrepreneur and young, I'm going to highlight that. An entrepreneur, when I think about that, I think about somebody who's in business. I think about maybe like a Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, and Oprah Winfrey. These are the names that come to mind. So something to do with business. And here, who is talking? Well, Nat spoke first, Alex then responded, and now Nat is asking the questions because in a dialogue, that's the way that it would work. Continuing on. "You are well prepared," said Alex, nodding in approval. "I trained at Blaisville College." This is Alex speaking. That's what we learned. "How did you go from there to having your own hair shop on wheels?" Here we see Hair Shop on Wheels. I'm going to highlight because that refers back to the picture directly. It's the name of probably the business they're talking about. And here, it's Nat speaking because it's his turn to talk. Continuing on, "I got the idea after volunteering at my grandfather's seniors residence. I cut hair and trimmed beards, even styled women's hair for anyone who couldn't get up to the barber shop or hairdresser. The residents didn't have space to set up professional equipment, so I thought of a way to bring it all to them. After graduation, I borrowed money from the bank so I could at least afford to buy a van. My brother put in some sweat equity as a mechanic and converted the van into a mobile salon," explained Alex. Okay, sweat equity. I wonder what that means. Not quite sure. Sweat means to do work, to work hard, maybe like when I'm training, athletic, etc. Equity. I think equity has something to do with money, but maybe we get an explanation later. In other words, that's something we don't know, so we should definitely highlight it. Converted the van into a mobile salon. We see from the picture and from above, it's called a hair shop on wheels. So this is a van that does hair probably, and they are able to travel because to be mobile means to travel, and they have the wheels in the form of a van. Who's talking here? This is now Alex who is speaking because he's the one who responded. Next, Nat was puzzled. Puzzled. We see here he probably has a question. Something is not clear. When I'm puzzled, that's how I feel. "Sweat equity," he says. "Your brother gets a share of your profit as payment for his hard work fixing up the van?" Okay, so share of your profit as payment for his hard work fixing up the van. You see, he refers to sweat equity. Just like we didn't know what it means, here I think we've come across a definition. A share of your profit. Now, profit is money that we get. People earn money. A business earns profit, so that's money related to that as payment for his hard work fixing up the van. So his brother did the hard work and he gets a share of this money for that work. That's what sweat equity is. And this is Nat speaking. He's the one who asked the question. Let's continue. Alex nodded in agreement. "That's the best thing about being my own boss. I can be creative in how I run my business." So here we know that this is Alex. "That aspect appeals to me too," said Nat. "What's your best advice for me as an aspiring businessman?" The word aspiring. Aspire to something. Probably means to reach something, to have a goal, not quite there yet. And this here is Nat. Finally, last sentence, do your research, develop a realistic business plan, and focus on your goals. You see, there is the idea of goals. So aspiring means we haven't quite reached it, but in this case, Alex is giving Nat the advice to focus on his goals. Now that we've read and highlighted the selection, we're going to go ahead and answer the multiple choice questions using our strategy clue. We're only going to answer question number 1 for the purpose of this video, but we can use our strategy clue for most of our multiple choice. So let's see. Number 1 asks, how does Nat show that he prepared for his interview with Alex? Okay, in this question, the best strategy to use of our acronym would be to eliminate any distracting or answers that we know are not applicable at all. They're meant to kind of take us off track. Let's see. A, shaking hands with Alex. Is this something that Nat does? Well, if we go back to the text itself, we see that at the beginning he does shake hands. So that's not a distractor. We should leave it in there. B, sharing his business plan. Okay, business plan. That said something at the end of it. Let's look at the very last sentence. Develop a realistic business plan. And that was Alex speaking. That means that it's not yet ready. So this answer of developing or sharing his business plan doesn't make sense. Nat doesn't have one yet. So that's a distracting answer. We're probably going to want to cross that out because it's not right. C, having his questions ready. Did Nat have his questions ready, or is that trying to throw us off topic? No, Nat definitely asked questions, and he seemed to have them ready, so we'll keep that in as well. D, volunteering at a senior's residence. All right, so Nat being prepared. Well, who was the one who volunteered at the senior's residence? That, if we look back at the selection, was actually Alex, because he volunteered at his grandfather's senior's residence, and that's how he started the business. So that answer, D, was meant to throw us off track. We eliminate it right away. We're left with 2. So the question asks, how does Nat show that he prepared for his interview with Alex? Is someone prepared when they shake hands with another, or the fact that Nat had his questions ready already? So if I think about being prepared for anything, for a test, for a big day, a presentation, it means that I've done some work before. I don't necessarily need to introduce myself or shake hands. I think the preparation comes before, and this would probably be C. Nat had his questions ready, so C is the best choice here. A, we can eliminate as well as not being quite correct. So again, we used our strategy clue to take us through the multiple choice questions, and don't forget, this is the answer booklet, so make sure that in that booklet you select answer 1A, otherwise it won't be marked. Stay tuned, CA, for episode number 6, the graphic text and its multiple choice questions.